Good afternoon, parents. I hope that you will forgive the quality of this video, but just like you, I am trying to make do the best I can with the resources I have with me at home. I've been getting mixed feedback from families who are either struggling to get this packet into play, or even some families that are saying the packet wasn't quite enough work. So today what I'd like to talk about is the importance of setting a daily schedule at home for your child. A lot of times when there's a big transition, children will act out and they will have behaviors that are really a result of their anxiety. And they don't look like they're a result of anxiety. Sometimes they look more like defiance. They can be really grumpy behaviors. But putting a daily schedule in place can be really, really helpful to relieve anxieties that we might not even realize are there for kids. So today I'm just going to give you an example of what a daily schedule could look like in your home. I want to remind you all that I know every single family is in a different position. You might be working in the community still. You might have multiple children in your home that you are trying to instruct. So please take everything today with a grain of salt. If there's something that you hear today that might be helpful for your student, then you can try it. And if there are things that you know just won't work, that's okay. Go ahead and let those go. I would recommend writing out a schedule. It can be as simple as what I did here on a piece of paper, or if you have a dry erase board or a place where your family normally looks for announcements, you could put a schedule there. If you have multiple students learning at home, you could make a schedule for each of them. And this is really, really great for younger learners as well. If you have kindergartners or first graders at home, a schedule, even with a clock close by where they can see what time they're going to be doing each activity, can really help relieve some anxiety. On my daily schedule, I included the time that I expect students to wake up. This is at your discretion, but I've found that it can be really, really helpful to keep students in a routine when it comes to sleep. Knowing when they're waking up and knowing when they're going to bed can really help have a better day. Structuring their breakfast so that they know this is a little bit more like a school day. I don't have a ton of time to sit in my PJs and eat breakfast, but if that is something that has been going well for your family, maybe that's something you don't get to do very much, go ahead and keep that. Then I put a few instructional blocks down, reading, which is from 8 to 9, and writing from 9 to 9:30. Now, if you've started that packet, you might be thinking, I do not know how I would stretch reading for an entire hour. Well, I wanted to show you over here our 1, 2, 3, 4 choices. During our literacy block in the classroom, students have 20 minutes to complete each of their rotations. So students spend some time doing a word work activity, some time doing skill practice, which is like that reading packet you received, some time doing an activity called low risk writing, and then normally it would be teacher time or read to self, but I'm trying to be really understanding. I know a lot of us don't have those huge home libraries that we would hope for, and getting to the public library isn't an option right now. So I included listening to reading because there are a lot of resources available online where your student can listen to a book even if they don't have a book at home that they can read independently or with you. Now, the beauty of doing something like this, a 1, 2, 3, 4 choice, is that students would be focused for 20 minutes at a time. That gives you blocks as an adult if you have work that you have to be doing or chores around the house that you would normally be doing, or if you have a younger learner that needs your attention. Now, I'm going to give a little bit more information tomorrow about what each of these is, and I'm going to provide you for a resource to help you get through the rest of this week, Thursday and Friday, and then we'll be ready to go next week with a full week of learning resources. But today, while you're getting your schedule together, these are some things that you might want to consider including, that your child will have a choice, but all of them will be chosen by the end of our time. Now you might notice that's 40 minutes, and over here we said that our reading block was going to take a whole hour. I'm going to try and provide a daily read aloud of our book Wonder, which we've been doing as a class, and that would fill in another 15 to 20 minutes. After these blocks are done, then you might consider having a designated writing time. Right now, our class is working on informational text, and before we left, each child chose a state that they wanted to research. So you can talk with your child, they might remember their state, or they could choose a new state. Right now, there are so many free, amazing educational resources online that they could use to research. So I know a lot of Scholastic resources are free. They can get on Pebble Go through the student resources, which they know how to access. And you could start writing by just having them for 30 minutes reading or watching videos about their state and just writing down some information. I would recommend maybe brainstorming some categories with them, but I'm going to give you a list of categories they might want to think about. I included free play and outside time because I do think that it's important for students to have that ability, just like during school, to have a recess time. If you are lucky enough that you have a safe space outside for students to go, I would absolutely recommend letting them out to get some energy, and they know, like, this is my time, I have to be doing that. It's not necessarily a technology time. If they do have to stay inside and free play doesn't fit your family, then use your discretion. I have a time in here for DEAR, which is called Drop Everything and Read. And DEAR is when they would be exploring their own books. If they don't have books at home that they can be reading and they already listened to reading, I'm gonna give us information on how we can log into Tumblebooks. Tumblebooks has some chapter book read-alongs so that at least they can be investing in something more than a storybook during this time. I included lunch on this schedule, and parents, I would say, like, there might be some parts of this schedule where you say, like, this will go from day to day, but meal times might be one of those things that you want to keep fixed so students know the rest of the time around it is what they have to fill in. And then I included chores and economy. During our classroom day, we have time where we're organizing our supplies, where we're putting things away, where we're cleaning up our common community. And I would recommend doing that at home. But this is also a great opportunity to talk with your kids about how, you know, you do work and it adds up to something. And right now, I know there's a lot going on with our economy that you might be able to speak about. But that might be a really good motivator at home to put something in place where they're doing chores, they have an ability to earn something. And then at the end of our day, I have a math block, which is an hour. And just like in reading, we have some choices. Tech time, which could be Dreambox or Prodigy. I know Prodigy is free and students really do enjoy it. You would have to create an account on the website, but it is free. The packet which you picked up has some really good review resources. And then I'm going to be sharing with you our daily review. It is something that students have been doing since the very first week of third grade. It is something that they are really familiar with. As an adult, you would have to change the numbers each day, but I promise you, it is not a lot of work. And it's something that you could use with 4th and 5th graders as well to make those skills just a little bit more challenging. So I will check back in tomorrow and I will provide you with some resources about what we do during these parts of reading, what these things of math can mean, and what you might want to be using for extra writing activities. But I would just encourage you today to think through and talk through with your student, what do they want your day to look like? Now, what I did not include in my schedule is any sorts of activities like PE or art or music. But those are things that you can have access to on YouTube, and I would really encourage talking with your kids. Those might be great ways to fill in space so they know what they're doing, and it's a little bit structured, but it's an enjoyable learning time.